One of the most powerful things I have ever done in my time management and productivity life was to create what I call the perfect week. Now, this is a blank calendar in your calendar app of choice where you plot out what you want time for. It's incredibly powerful, and today I'm going to show you how you can create your very own. Now, the truth is, I did do a video on this several years ago and it has been watched rather a lot of times, but I didn't probably title it correctly because I said how to build a productive week. Today, I am being very specific. How are you going to build a perfect week? Now, before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to an ideal week that a gentleman called Michael Hyatt. I think you may have heard of Michael Hyatt before, particularly if you've been following the productivity and time management world. Now, one of my coaching clients actually sent this through to me, which is a copy of Michael Hyatt's ideal week. Now, whether you call it the perfect week or the ideal week, it really doesn't matter, it's just a name. But the purpose is exactly the same. But what I like about Michael Hyatt's is the way that he's actually done this clearly in some kind of spreadsheet, could be Excel, Google Sheets, whatever. And he's plotted out how he will build his perfect, or in his case, ideal week. Now, if you look along the top there, you've got themes, which is his blog and podcasting, special projects, appointments, personal, and church. So he's got those along the top and they represent the days of the week. So if you think of that at the moment, he's actually theming the week, which is something that I often recommend when you're doing the perfect week. And then down the left-hand side, you can see self, work, family, friends, and planning. Now, again, I love this because he's breaking up the day and this gives you structure. Structure is so important if you want to get to the end of the day feeling fulfilled, happy, relaxed, and sort of content with what you've done. And over here, Michael Hyatt starts very early in the morning. Not me, I'm not an early bird, but he will start with self. So he's doing his exercise first thing in the morning. And then if we go down from there, he's got his reading time, how he can do shower, breakfast and dress in 30 minutes. Good on him, I couldn't do that. And then he processes email first thing in the morning. How many times have I told people, clear your inbox first thing in the morning? We're not doing email, we're not responding to email, we're just clearing the email so that we get a good heads up on the day. We're not suffering from FOMO, you know, that fear of missing out, that you might be missing something. There could be a fire in there that needs your attention. Just get it off your mind. Go in there, clear it, and then get on with your work. And then Michael does his blogging, he's recording podcasts, and then I get new content, so creating content, and then appointments that he has pushed out to Friday. And then in the evening, I'm presuming Gail is his wife, so he has dinner with his wife, meeting with friends, mentorship, and various other things. So as you can see, it's a wonderfully structured calendar. Now the thing is, this is not his a real calendar. This is what we call the ideal week. But we need something to anchor us, and this is what the perfect week does for you. So let me show you how to set your very own perfect week up. So the first step is to open up your calendar app of choice, and in this particular example, I am going to use Apple Calendar. I could have used Google Calendar, I could have used Microsoft Outlook Calendar. I'm just going to use Apple Calendar. And what we're going to do is we start with our personal life. Now, what do you want in your personal life? Now, in a perfect week, when I'm building this with a client, I will always ask them, how much sleep do you need? Sleep is one of the critical things that you need if you want to be productive. So how many hours of sleep do you need? Now, put that into your calendar, get that in, how much sleep that you need. Then what we do is we start the day with our morning routines. Now, how much time do you want for morning routines? I don't usually recommend giving yourself more than 45 minutes. If you want to go out for a run or go to the gym, that would be a separate thing. The morning routines is what you do first thing in the morning. So in my case, I will wake up, make coffee, drink lemon juice, write my journal, clear my email inbox, face and teeth I call it as well. So I wash my face and brush my teeth, etc. But we do that. That's part of my morning routine. routine. It takes about 45 minutes. I love it because I'm writing my journal by hand, and it's just one of the best ways to start the day. Then I will give myself a 30-minute gap. Now, this is critical because this is where I get a heads up on the day. I can talk to my wife, I can talk to my team, find out if there's any emergencies, any crises going on, and see if there's anything that I may have missed when I did my daily planning. And then I will start plotting out my day. Now, my work day generally will start at 9:30. Yours might start at a different time. This is where you start plotting out your day. Now, for some of you, you may have a regular meeting on a Monday morning at 9:30. Okay, that's what you do. That's going to get in there. It's a regular meeting. It's recurring, so you put that in. Any recurring meetings, get them in. And then for your evening, what you want to be doing is plotting out what you would like to do in the evening. This is your personal time. If you remember the Michael Hyatt calendar, he has dinner with his wife, he has spent some time with his friends and mentees, I think they are. Those kind of things, plot them out. Remember, this is the ideal week, the perfect week. This is not the real week. I'll explain what we're going to be doing shortly. And then what I would also highly recommend, because these are the two things that will backlog so quickly, is where are you going to have time for your admin and communications? Now, admin is just all that daily stuff that just needs to be done. Expense reports, daily activity reports if you're a sales person, whatever it is, we've all got admin to do each day. So get a time protected for it. If you don't, it's just going to back up, and you have a huge backlog. And those backlogs, while they may not be urgent, screaming at you, as they're growing, they create this low level of anxiety in your mind. You know it's there, you know it's growing, and you know you're not doing anything about it. That causes us so much anxiety and so much stress. Make sure you've got, I generally would say if you combine the two, admin and communications, I would suggest 90 minutes a day. Find it and block it off. Now you can split it into two 45-minute sessions if you wish. I have an hour, on my calendar, I plot out an hour for communications and an hour for admin. I rarely need that amount of time, but I know if I've got it protected, it's on the calendar, I know it's going to get done. There is a rule that I always recommend to people, which is what goes on your calendar gets done. Now, one piece of advice here, based on that, what goes on your calendar gets done. If for whatever reason you cannot do something that's on your calendar, perhaps you don't do your exercise, perhaps you don't do your communication time, then you must remove it from the calendar. What the calendar's doing is collecting data for you. It's collecting data throughout the week, throughout many weeks if you keep it there, and then you've got a pattern. You can go back and you can see, okay, this is the way I want my work life to work, how I want my days to go. And this is what's actually happening. You can then start to use that data to make adjustments in your schedule. But the beauty of designing your perfect week is that you are creating a blueprint for your day. You're giving yourself structure for the day. And that is critical if you want to become more productive and better at managing your time. Now, as I say, this is a perfect week. This is not going to be initially something you'll be able to just turn on and say, right, from Monday, this is the way I'm going to work. It doesn't work like that. It's something that you aspire to. It's something that over time, each week, each month, each year, if necessary, you're trying to move your real calendar in to merge with your perfect week calendar. Now, one of the things I will always tell you now is that you will make adjustments. You will find, because we are human, we're very overambitious. We start putting in exercise times on a Friday evening when generally we get home on a Friday, and the last thing we want to do is go up and exercise. So you can modify it as you get going. But this is why it's so important that if you don't do something, you remove it from the calendar. You haven't failed. Don't ever feel bad about removing something. Just make sure that if you didn't do something, you remove it from your calendar so you have accurate data. Now, I created my first perfect week calendar round about 6 or 7 years ago. And in the initial months, I did modify it slightly. Again, being human, I was overambitious. But over the months that followed that, I did manage to start squeezing my real calendar into my perfect week calendar. Now, for instance, 9:30 to 11:30 is protected on most days for me to do my focused work, the work that's really important. That could be creating content, recording these videos, whatever. But that's something I've been able to squeeze in over time. As I say, it didn't happen overnight. I've also modified it several times. I've tried doing exercise immediately after lunchtime. The other thing I did discover, living in Korea, we have very cold winters, so it can drop down to below 10 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 10 to 15 Celsius. And in the summer, it can go as high as 100 Fahrenheit or nearly like 35 to 40 degrees and humid. So usually in the winter, I'll do my exercise in the afternoons. When it comes to the summer and it gets really hot, I start to do exercise in the early evening. So I move things around based on the season, and that's perfectly okay. This is your calendar, it's your perfect week calendar. But what you'll find is once you've got something like this, whether it's like mine or whether it's like Michael Hyatt's, you've given yourself some kind of structure to your day, and that gives you certainty if you start following this and you don't allow other people to interfere with it. Now, of course, we have to be flexible. There's going to be days when you're going to be on a training session. You might go on a business trip. You might have an all-day meeting with your team, with your boss. Yes, okay, these days will happen. Doesn't mean that your perfect week is completely destroyed. It's just one day. But what we're trying to do is bring consistency into our lives and also ensuring that we've got the time to do the things that we want to do, not the things that we feel we have to do or we're forced into by other people. When you've got your perfect week calendar set up, it's a lot easier to say no, particularly to your boss, because you'll start getting results. You'll start hitting deadlines. You'll start sending in documents on time every time. That's a win-win for you, always, every single day. So if you want to look at the original perfect week calendar that I did, you can see that up here. That video is the one to watch next.